Alright, so real quick I wanted to start this video by saying that I've done two videos that are really outside of my usual style, and I want to admit they haven't been performing very well. I'm thinking about doing a video where I sort of rant about YouTube's, well, current state when it comes to recommending videos, especially for smaller channels, but either way, I want to let you guys know that I did a video about KontrolFreek's weird RGB light marketing and how it's going to make you a better gamer, and about the games I'm playing while my state is currently under a stay-at-home order. And I had fun making both of these videos. They're a little bit longer, they feature more of this if you're into that, but either way, hopefully you guys enjoy them if you go and watch them. I will try to remember to link them both in the comment section and description. I want to drive more traffic to them because as much as I do love talking about Call of Duty, I do have a little bit more to offer. So anyway, thank you guys for hearing me out and enjoy the commentary. I was hoping I'd have some more variety when it came to my Modern Warfare topics. I feel like I'm sort of looping the same 5, but I did have a list of video ideas I wanted to touch on, and yeah, one of them was, how's the whole camping, debacle, situation, controversy going on in Modern Warfare? How has it changed in the last 5 months? It's hard to believe that Modern Warfare has already been out for almost half a year. So in order to get to the bottom of this, I feel like I need to look back on my list of proposed solutions that I think Infinity Ward could have used in order to eliminate the camping problem and, more importantly, eliminate the camping complaints. Because a lot of people complain about camping immediately. That person was holding still, that person was waiting for me, they were using cover, they were watching the objective, they were using a sniper rifle. It's all camping, right? Either way. We'll talk more about this later in the video, but right now I just want to go into my list. So let's pop over to the IRL cam and see what I'm up to. Whoops, wrong IRL cam. Let's do a different one. Alright, so let's read down the list quickly here of all the things I mentioned back in November 20th of 2019, of ways that they could have reduced camping, and we'll see which ones happened and which ones didn't. So, here we go. Ghost only activates while moving, didn't happen. Spotter delays claymores and landmines, didn't happen. Dead Silence becomes a tier 3 perk, didn't happen, along with Amplify in order for there to be counterplay, didn't happen. Minimap returns to normal, didn't happen. Make this, well, unless you play Warzone or the CDL playlist, because whatever. Make the suppressor's downsides more noticeable. This was so that if Ghost only activates while moving and the minimap was showing unsuppressed fire like it used to, then suppressors would become more viable as a stealth option, so they'd have to be a little bit more of a trade-off on your weapon. So take up an attachment slot, maybe slow down your ADS a little bit more, or whatever. So suppressors would be a little bit more bad, but they would also be more viable with a working minimap. So, anyway. Increased bullet penetration, distance, and damage. That was to take campers out that are head glitching or sitting in a corner that you can snapshot grenade and then shoot through. That doesn't happen. There's so many stealth patches Infinity Ward's done. Maybe it's happened and we just don't know. I'm not sure. And then remove downsides from optics. This was so that if you use an optic, I didn't want it to say, unless it's a sniper scope, it shouldn't say increases ADS time. Okay, it really should have, all the optics should have no weight on how fast you bring the gun up to your eye, because, I don't know, it just felt like it would encourage more movement if optics weren't hurting your movement. Anyway, speed up tac sprint out time, meaning that if you're tac sprinting, you can come out of it a little bit faster. I agree and disagree with this because, I don't know, I catch people that have Kar 98s, they're tac sprinting with the gun up, and then I'm immediately killed, so maybe that shouldn't be effective on one-shot kill weapons, but definitely for SMGs and ARs, I think that would be fine. And then I'll just read the notes here that I have. So I'll read the notes that I put at the bottom of this all those months ago. And it was, camping, like it or not, is a strategy. The maps themselves are enough to allow people to camp and play slowly. That's fine by me, 100%. But unfortunately, players feel demotivated when it comes to rushing and aggressive playstyles, and instead of having a 60-40 camper experience, or 60-40 camper to rusher ratio, it feels more 80-20 in non-objective modes, in my personal experience, and that's still my personal experience. Non-objective game modes like TDM and Free-For-All are 80-20 camper to rusher ratio, when I wish that the whole game was more 60-40. And the reason I want it to be 60-40 is because a slower COD game, after the years of COD games that we've had, is a welcome change. Slower is a welcome change. A stagnant Call of Duty is not. And while I don't think certain game modes are stagnant, I'll talk about that more later in this video, but Team Deathmatch and Free-for-All are kind of ruined by the choices they made at Infinity Ward, and that's sad that none of these really came to be. I also added that equipment glows better with Spotter, and that did happen, so I guess that's good. But other than that, none of these changed. Suppressors aren't, don't have more notable downsides with minimap returning to normal. Ghost only activates while moving. Yeah, not a thing. So months ago, I offered those as potential solutions to fix the camping problem, and none of them have happened. Now, let's first talk about the reason people are complaining about camping a lot. In the last couple of days, I've played a good amount of TDM, and the reason you won't see that gameplay here is because it was too boring to record. Honestly, Team Deathmatch, I don't know how people play it in this game. I didn't play it in previous larger map, campier Call of Duty games like Modern Warfare 2, like Modern Warfare 3, like Call of Duty Ghosts. I didn't like Team Deathmatch. The reason I don't have a problem with camping is because I find it to just be a viable strategy occasionally in the game modes that I play, like Hardpoint, or Domination, or Kill Confirmed. Whether I'm guarding the objectives, going for cutoffs, or baiting tags, camping sort of feels viable. And yeah, I'm using camping as liberally as everyone else. It feels dirty doing it, because I honestly think camping is when you are obsessively sticking in one area, or trying your damnedest to just not move. Whereas I think slowing down and waiting and baiting your opponents is a smart way to counter them, and if they're not going to approach corners and head glitches with their sights up, they can just go ahead and die, and if they have a problem with that, I'm sorry, go play a different game. This is obviously not your Call of Duty, go play something else. There's nothing wrong with that. I've had to do that in the past. It's just what happens. Not everything's for everybody, and I refuse to believe that Call of Duty every year needs simplistic, small maps for fast-paced, just forced gunfights constantly. I feel like you could have a Call of Duty that's a little bit slower, but here's my point. Like I said when I was reading off my old list, a slower COD game is a welcome change, a stagnant one is not. The minimap, Dead Silence, and the Ghost perk have not been changed. They have not been rearranged, nerfed, or buffed. Well, I think Dead Silence got a little bit of a buff in its recharge time, but come on. The minimap showing unsuppressed gunfire encourages more engagements and also encourages suppressor use, and if the suppressors had more downsides, then it would be a trade-off in order to stay off of the minimap, which it should be. Staying off the minimap is a really powerful ability, if you think about it, because the minimap is not really a crutch. I've said this before. The minimap is your best friend and your worst enemy. But Infinity Ward could have made the advanced UAV a 10 kill streak or maybe even an 8 kill streak, but they haven't yet. They really could de-incentivize camping in a lot of different ways by nerfing Ghost, buffing Dead Silence, adding Amplify. And you might think, oh god, don't add Amplify. Footstep Sound Horn was a big problem, but think about it. If you had to choose between having Dead Silence or Amplify, that's a pretty good balance. You might think Amplify would just help campers boom, so even if it's in the same category, they don't need Dead Silence because they're going to be holding still. And if they're holding still and the Ghost perk got moved how it was in Black Ops 2, where you need to be moving at full speed to stay off the minimap, the fucking song just writes itself. And if they have Amplify, they don't have Dead Silence, so when they have to move, they're screwed. Also, snapshot grenades and RPGs exist. This is the thing, right? Call of Duty Modern Warfare makes it too easy to adapt to your enemies, and yet nobody wants to do it. Just adapt is a meme, so I put it on my t-shirts, but at the same time, this game makes it really easy to debunk campers. The reason I don't like TDM, and I think the reason a lot of people don't like Modern Warfare, is they go to play TDM, and it goes to the time limit, and it's slow as hell, and it's people head glitching and sitting in corners, and locking down a power position all game. And while I get it, and that can be a fun change of pace for some people, if you want fast-paced gameplay, go play Hardpoint, go play Headquarters, go play Kill Confirmed, go play Cyber Attack. If those are still too campy for you, then I don't know what to tell you. That is not in any of my friends' experiences, that's not in my experience. Domination gets pretty campy because it's about locking down map control, so if somebody is holding 2 flags, then they're just going to wait for you, and yeah, that's kind of annoying, but that's also always how Domination was played. The only time domination doesn't play that way is when the maps are really small and linear and simplistic, because those maps force engagements and they have very predictable lanes and lines of sight. I wouldn't go into Modern Warfare's maps and expect that, so if you're going to play domination, you're going to have to fight for map control, and when you control the map, control it, and don't get mad when other people do the same. One of the ways I really enjoy Modern Warfare is I play hardpoint, and if I'm not playing with friends and the randoms aren't doing well, I just pretend the objective doesn't exist. My win-loss ratio means nothing, it's mostly influenced by other things. I don't give a shit about it, I'm going to have as much fun as possible, and usually that involves flanking the hardpoint, baiting the hardpoint, holding down some sort of cutoff to the hardpoint so that way I can, take people out as they're trying to get to the objective. That's what makes me excited about hardpoint. I can sort of define my playstyle in a game mode where players are constantly having to move around the map and converge on a single location, so it speeds up the game and it still allows for a lot of variety in my own playstyles. I would say Infinity Ward hasn't done enough to prevent obsessive camping. I think they should. I think the game has been out long enough now. If all of those original design decisions were for new players, the game's been out for almost half a year, those players aren't new anymore, get with it, Infinity Ward. At the same time, I don't experience horrible amounts of camping because I don't play camping game modes, and I don't consider anyone holding still to be a camper. There are Call of Duty players that don't think ahead, they don't use cover, they're just allergic to anything that could prevent them from dying, and then they complain about the game. Modern Warfare is the first Call of Duty that allows you to fully customize a complicated set of attachments and perks, your whole loadout, in the middle of a game. If that doesn't scream to you that you need to be adapting better, I don't know what will. There's now 10 customizable create a class slots that you have access to. If you can't think of a weapon or combination of things to stop a player, you're not thinking hard enough. Frustrating matches exist, frustrating teams exist. Do I rage? Yes. Do my friends rage? Of course. No problem there. That is a Call of Duty problem, that is an FPS problem, it's never going away. But if you want faster paced, more aggressive games, play faster paced, aggressive game modes, and don't complain when everyone's holding still in a game mode that doesn't encourage movement. But Infinity Ward could encourage more movement, could encourage faster playstyles by doing the things we've been requesting. So yeah, my update is, no, Infinity Ward hasn't done enough, but the community is stubborn as hell. That's basically the end of this video. I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye.